if we can build MCP, if we can deploy it locally. Now, just to recall what we have discussed in the previous session, like we have just gone through basics of MCP. Maybe I can just quickly open the deck, give you a brief introduction, and then we can have a code walkthrough. Like how does MCP works? Okay, so we are talking about MCP. The benefit, as already we discussed, it would be context rich. The workflow is very simplified. We have improved autonomy and like it's getting data and we don't have to do like much struggle of doing all those basic plugin and all. So if you're building MCP, what do we need? So we just need these following things: MCP host, MCP servers, and web API. And so like what is the problem? So what MCP is solving here is a problem, that we call it as a basic problem. So you can see here, if you want to connect your LLM with different services, or maybe you want to connect with Drive, you want to connect with GitHub or maybe Slack, so you have to build different APIs. Now, what problem MCP is solving? MCP is telling that you don't worry about all those things. You set up the MCP protocol, which is going to connect with everything. Okay, and LLM can only connect with this. So the task where LLM has to connect with all these different services is solved by MCP. You just plug in the MCP, it takes care of everything. So this is like a universal translator, like these are like somebody speaking French, somebody speaking German, somebody speaking Japanese. He's telling you that you don't worry, I will tell you what they're talking, and maybe you talk it back, I will translate it back. Something like this what MCP is doing. So it is taking care of all these nitty-gritties that we are having. So simple example that we discussed, that it could be like a USB-C drive, that USB-C drive that we are having. Suppose you are having 3 models and 3 tools. So how many connection you will require? Total 9 connections you will require to connect all of them. But by using MCP, how many connections do we require? We just, yes. So that's what, in place of building all those 9 connections, you just require 1 connection. So imagine how much of time and resource you are saving, than building all those different total 9 custom connections or APIs that we are doing. So MCP solving n by n problem. N could be the number of models, M would be the number of tools that you are using here. And I'll just quickly go to MCP architecture. So we have host. Host could be anything. For example, now we'll see one of the hosts, like we have Claude desktop version, so we can look at that. Then we have a clients. So clients basically they are connecting the host. So host would be where you're actually managing the entire session. The host will manage the session, and how it will manage the session. So you need a server. Basically what MCP does, it sets up a local server for you. So you have to set up a local server. And how do you connect to that server? By using the client. So we have a connection between the client and the server, where we would be connecting with different tools using certain protocols, like JSON-RPC is one of them that we are using here. Now client role is like asking some, so connecting with them, so Claude, as I mentioned you, one of the applications. Now what we'll do, we'll quickly go to Claude, we'll see how it is working. So let me just show you an example here. So what you need a Claude desktop version. So for example, you have to download a Claude desktop version. We'll see it here. If you go to Claude AI, you can see we have a download Claude options, and if you click on that, so you can see we have different options. You can download on your Mac, you can download on, if you have a Windows system, you can download on Windows, or maybe other. So anyway, it started downloading also. I'll cancel it. So you can download, and once you're able to download, like this would be your desktop version, then you can actually go to your system, and you can start, like Claude is installed, so I can open it directly from here. Okay. Okay, so you can see, like I was doing some testing here, but this is a desktop version where we can start a new chat. So what you're seeing here is right now a desktop version of Claude. Okay. So this is already having some connectors. Like if you see here, it's having like, okay, can connect a GitHub, you can connect a Google Drive. So we have all these connectors here, which is very good. You can set up your connectors here. You can connect your drive and you can use something what MCP is doing, very similar to that. Okay. And other part here is that if you see, this is offering a lot of customization. Like again, if we go on this kind of, if you go to the settings, here you can see, okay, if you go to the setting, this gives us an option. So in setting, we have this option where we can actually customize, we can set up the MCP. So either we can go with uh, any of the basic editors. So like VS Code or maybe Cursor also you can use, or you can go with uh, Claude desktop version. So different options are there. And if you look at like what we have to do here, if you go to settings, you have to go to developers. If you go to developers, so already you can see I was setting up one. Let me delete it right now so that we don't have any APIs. So you will see if you click on developer, it will give you option local MCP servers. So what do you need? See, one thing that we discuss, we need a server. Okay. How do we set up the server? We set up the server by using this Claude desktop version. So we can actually look into, like right now we don't have anything. So you can look into documentation. It is having very rich documentation. It gives you all detail. For example, how do you build up your own server using Claude for desktop? And if you see here, it is given you all the steps, okay, which we can follow. So depending upon what kind of operating system we are using, so we can go through these examples where they have mentioned that okay, you can do some uh, like you have to set up the UV basically if you're using Python, and then you can do some curl command there, and based upon your operating system you can set up, you can create a directory, and then you can set up a virtual environment here, and then you can start a simple basic Python script. For example, a simple weather calling tool, you want to set it up, so you can set it up, or you want to build your own server also, that also you can do. You can build your own. So we'll go to very basic. I will share this link. This is available, so you all can access this. So you see here, like how do we build? So for building, we require. So they have given this tutorial. Okay, how do we connect these servers and all? So if you want to use like how we discuss, example, you want to go to the connectors. So you can use MCP as a connectors. Already that example we can see here. Okay, like server you want to connect MCP. So do you trust this server? For example, here you see without even like using config. If I go back, so if I go back here, you can at least see that. Uh, okay. On the main page, let's go back to the new chat. So if you see here, when we are here, already these are like connectors that we are having. So there are already certain connectors. For example, you can see add your own connectors. Okay, so this is like an MCP, but suppose we want to do more customization, so we can go here and we can go to settings, and once you go to settings, then you will have the developer here, and you can click on edit config. So if you click on edit config, it will give you this file. This is a Claude underscore desktop underscore config underscore JSON. This is where you have to right click. You have to open with any Python script editor, like what code you want to write, you can select that. So for example, let's say we want to open this in VS Code. So just to see. So right now you will see there is nothing. It's empty. Nothing is there because we don't have any. We have not set up any MCP here, any protocol here or anything. So this is completely blank. So how do you start? Like how do you set up these things? So as I mentioned, the documentation is very rich. So if you go there, setting up, so here already they have mentioned, like if you want to start, if you want to connect to the local server, so how do you set it up? How do you start it up? One of the example, like you need here first, you have to download a Claude desktop version already. So first thing that you have to do, number one, you have to download a Claude Desktop. Let me put the points here somewhere on the whiteboard. I will just put it on the whiteboard. Okay. So what do we need here? First, we'll put it here. Okay, let's just, yeah. So the first thing, what we need is to download a desktop version. That is a step number. I'll just put down all the steps here so that it's easy for us to understand. The simplest way, like we are looking at very basic way. So you need a Claude desktop. Okay, this is the first thing that you need. So you have to install a Claude desktop. This is already you have done. Now what is the step number two? So step number two is that you need Node.js. Okay, you need to check whether you have Node.js into your machine or not. If you don't have, you can download that. So we require Node.js. This also is important. Okay. This is the second requirement. So this is step two. So Node.js is required. We have to set it up here. Okay. So you have to check, you have to make sure that we have first of all a desktop version. Second thing, we need a Node.js that is also there. Okay. Now once you have done that, so we can set up the server. So how do we start? Like if you look at servers, they are nothing but they are the program that will run on your computer using the Claude desktop as a server. So that would be used as a server for doing certain things. So how do you install your first server? Okay. So as I mentioned, you can go through the Claude desktop setting, and once you go there, you can access the developer setting. Once you access the developer setting, now depending upon your operating system, whatever operating system that you are having, okay. So for example, if I'm using Windows, I have a Windows machine. If you're using a Mac, so you have Mac. So directly you can open this, or other way you can go to Claude desktop version, okay, which we saw. There even also you can select so if I go to Claude here directly, okay, so we can select, we can open this, okay, and you can see this is already the file config file already we have opened this one, okay. So what you have to do here, you have to open the config file servers. Once you open that, we are already there, okay. Claude desktop config JSON. So that's what we need. Claude desktop config JSON. It's on Mac. If you're using Windows, then that would be again, this is your this is the path where you can find it out. After that, what you have to do, you have to replace the configuration of file with a JSON structure. So you have to do a JSON structure there, and what will come here, this will be the configuration that you want to set up your file system, okay. So on Mac OS, this is going to be this extension you are having. On Windows, if you're setting on Windows, then this is going to be like this, okay. So right now we are using Mac, so we can go with this configuration here. We can set up this configuration. So let me copy this configuration here. Now what we'll do, we'll put the configuration where in the same file which we are using. Okay, so let's open this one. This is already open. Okay, so we can say open with VS Code. So this is where, as you can see, okay, I have already maybe set up some sort of configuration earlier. Okay, so let me remove that first, completely delete. Okay, I think don't save. Okay, so right now I'm just putting it. Okay, so here you can see we just have to copy it. Let me copy it once again. Come back to this. Okay. So we got it here. Now it is showing that, okay, MCP server, you can see 300, 3000 localhost HTTP. Only thing is that you need to change the username. So your username, whatever, like my machine, I am having my name. So I can set up my name. Okay. Here also I can update that. Okay. So you just update your name when you're setting up this server. So what do you need? You need a file system. You need a Node.js here, and you need to set up these arguments. Arguments would be like you want to access your local file right now. So you can set up that in desktop, and you can do that. This is what uh, as per the official documentations. So the replace username, whatever username that you are having, you replace that with your actual username. Okay. The path, all arguments that we are having, these all arguments are specified there. So as we discuss, the file system is nothing but a file name of the server, which will appear in the Claude Desktop. Okay. So you will be having the file name in the Claude Desktop. Then you will have a command. This is Node.js tool basically to connect to the server. And again, this why that we are having here, what is it's automatically confirm the installation of the server package, if that is or not. And we saw this example, like ultimately we set up the path and all, we run that. Now what will happen once you have done that? What is the next step? You have to restart. Okay, you have to restart the server. Let's do that. Okay, so we have done that. Now actually there are so many applications I've started. Let me close few of them. Give me a minute, I'll just close. So what we'll do, we will try to close all other application. uh we will try to close this. Okay, and we'll restart it. That's what officially in the documentation we are having. So let's quickly do that. Okay, so we'll just go here. Okay, wherever Claude we are running, okay, locally. Okay, let me just open that. Think. Okay. So okay, fine. So now we are running it here. Okay. Uh, so what we can do first, we can like initially once you are able to save the configuration, then you should quit from here. You should actually close it here. That's what. Now this is done. We are able to close this. Let me just close everything. So you have to restart the desktop. You can click on quit and then restart that. The application will restart. Upon restarting, what you can do, you will go to this indicator on the right side. So you will see here that will be having indicator, and there you can see the available MCP tools that we are having. This is the simplest way of setting up MCP server. So let's go and start our Claude again here. So we'll start the desktop, and once we start the desktop, okay, here it will take a little bit of time. I'm running so many applications in the background, so it takes a little bit of time.
Can you answer any questions meanwhile, if there are any?
Okay.
Guys, can you put any questions that you have in the chat, in the Q&A? I don't see any questions yet, but you can always, yeah, there's one, Alok.
Okay, let me check. How did we choose? That is up to you. Okay, you can select anything. I'm like it's your choice. So I like Claude, to use Claude. So I have some more kind of liking towards that. Maybe that is the reason I selected. But you can select. You need some server. That server could be anything. It could be your, any, like you're setting up. So you can set it up in VS Code, any of the applications you can set it. That is up to you. You can set it up in any of these development environments that we are having. Why it is not starting? And I'm having, okay. Let me just stop sharing. There is some issue with this.
Oh, this is the issue that we were talking about today.
Yeah, yeah, and VS Code also. So that is why I said there was some challenge. Okay, finally we can see here. So now if you see, we can see here. So if you click on this, okay. So what will happen? You can see, like, the application that we have added here. Now you can see, previously there were not so many in that connect we were seeing. Now when we connected the MCP protocol, now you can see that was only giving us an option of only simple, now we can see so many connectors here. So what has happened? We can do a calendar search, we can do a Gmail search, okay, we can connect our drive. So what has happened when we added? Now we can bring more of these. Now this is just one example to show you all. Now if I want to actually do this, connect this with my server. So what I have to do again? I can go with my Gmail search, and then if I have to set it up again, given access to that, given permission to that, and finally set it up, which definitely I'm not doing it right now, but just to show you all. Same way if you want to connect your drive, okay. So drive also you can do. Okay, drive, we can try to say, 1 minute. Okay. Can we connect the drive here? Okay, let's see. So if you have any question, even you can set it up on your local machine. You can ask what is there on your desktop, what is there on your drive. It should be able to show you that. Okay. So you can see it is asking us if we want to connect any one of this. Let's say I connect my drive here. Okay. Uh, so let's click on this. It's asking for the permission. Continue. Okay. As you can see, so it can access the complete drive now. Okay. That connector is been set up. Now let's come here and use this one that we did. Okay. Maybe a drive search. Okay. So what is the, now I can actually, again, it's actually not able to access. Okay. So what will happen? Let me tell you. So if you connect this, you can actually ask a question here, like how many documents are there in your local drive, or maybe which is the recent document. So it should be able to answer all these question for us, like whatever questions that we ask, we should be able to get a response from that. So we actually don't need to build a RAG based solution. This could be totally local. Now think about, you're having a use case where you're having some sort of student database or maybe an employee database. So what you can do, you can connect your MCP with that database, and your LLM can connect with the MCP server very easily. So what will happen? You can ask any question and you can get a response here. Like that, there are some applications like setting up the weather protocols, like setting up MCP protocol for weather, where you can ask a question. Like maybe I can just quickly give you a code walkthrough, which when we are looking at this. So how do I set up? Like there are some example which they have given here. Okay, even there are some code snippets which we can try. We can check these ones. Like okay, so I'll just open one example which I will show you here. Whether it, so this one, as you can see, you want to set up MCP protocol for weather. So let me just open this script. Yeah. So if you see here, what we are doing is we are setting up these MCP, fast MCP, which can connect with the weather API. So the whole idea here is that how do I get the recent temperature or maybe the climate conditions? And sometimes we can definitely use some of these uh, uh, LLM models like ChatGPT. Nowadays, they have got again some sort of web integration. That is again some sort of tools which is very similar to what MTP is doing. Some sort of connectors. But then again, it will be looking at certain website which may not be very appropriate to what we are looking for. It may not be very specific to our requirement that we are having. So what we need? So we need to create, some sort of MCP protocol for getting the data from there. So here you can see, we set up these uh, we set up these objects where we can where we can get the weather data set. So we can set a request, okay, to the client. These APIs are there, and we have certain tools here. So you can see get the weather, and then we can get we have some example, some cities, and then we even have some sort of metadata. So based on the country, based on certain conditions, city, we can get that information. What is the temperature? What is the humidity? What is the wind speed? So all this information we can ask, and it should be able to retrieve that. So this is a very simple snippet code which we can set up. So if we can connect with we can set up the Claude as a server. We can use certain tools to connect with that, and we can do certain queries to get that data here. So this is again how do I set up a very simple MCP protocol for getting the weather, for any kind of things. Now this is very basic example doing weather and all. But if you look at a broader sense, it can be used anywhere for getting any customer data, or if you have any questions. Okay. For example, locally on my machines, what are the from business point of view. So who are my customers? What is the recent transactions? Whatever data that we fetch by running these uh, different applications, all of them can be taken care of by building these MCP protocols. Okay, maybe what we'll do, we'll take some more use cases in this. Right now, we are just having some basic use case.
People have some questions in chat. Can we complete that? And
Yeah, definitely. So I can see there is a lot of. Can I build and complete my own application? Like, yes, you can do that. No, nowadays, vibe coding is there, anybody can do that. Okay. Are the same? Yes. If you use the VS Code, I'll share the steps. Everybody can follow. So I'll share this in link. You can always refer the official documentation. So this is the link. If anybody is looking at, we'll even if you want the code and script, maybe we'll share that on the mail. You can try to set up your own weather APIs. Chat. Yeah, how do I share it in chat? So then if way is there, we can share it, because I don't chat is active.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, sure. You can send it to me. I'll take care of that. I'll send it there. Okay.
Okay. We'll send you these links. Okay. Maybe after this webinar is open, then you can just go through that. So if you want to run it in Python script, like in VS Code also, the process is very simple. And I will give you one more link. You all can follow. Let me just share that with everybody. So if you want to run a very basic example, like in GitHub and all, if we have this code, which is very basic. So this is the official documentation which you all can refer. This is again from MCP itself. So they have given this complete SDK, basically the software development kit. So you can go here. Everything is mentioned, like how do you start. So if you want to do, you set up this thing in VS Code. So you can see a very quick starter is actually, this is hardly like few line of code. If you see here, when you are setting up the server, okay. So what is happening here? You first start with your virtual environment. If you want to set up, you can do that, and then you create the servers. Okay. After that, you are setting up the tools. So this is tools. You are setting up, greeting and maybe some sort of prompt. So very basic, very simple. You can go, you can run this, and you can check it here. That is how, let's say you are building some application, you want to try that, you can try on your own, and then start with basic activities, and then try to solve some complex problems. So always go for basic one, understand how it is working, and then you can try some sort of building some sort of complex application. So that was the question. I can see some more questions we are having here. If companies will be no, why will companies share their data? So that is the problem. So with the server is local. Okay, this is not going outside. So when you say server, you are setting the server local. It is not server we are setting up in the cloud. So let's say you want to set it up locally. You can use some local models like we can set up some open source model like Llama, or maybe nowadays even GPT has also released open source model. So we have different ways, like Ulama is one way where you can run this locally on your local machine, or you can try it other way. Is this function calling which you show? Yeah, yeah, that was for weather. The one that I showed you was weather. So is there any real world scenario? Definitely, we are having a lot of use cases, and as I mentioned, some of them would be with no code as well as with using these things. So one of the example I can give you is that building a CRM system. Let me just show you one example. How do you build a CRM system using MCP? I'll just give you a simple example. 1 minute. I am having here. Yeah. So this is one example which I just wanted to share. For example, you want to build up your own fraud detection system. Okay. So you want to build it by using MCP protocol. This is just one example. How do you go ahead? Like fraudulent transactions are a big problem. So how do we actually solve this kind of problem? So we can use MCP protocol here. Now that is just one example. Like that, we would be having, many other examples like solving a CRM problems where you have a customer data. So you want to get a data from like we have a lot of forms that has been filled up, or maybe some inquiry has happened, or maybe some sort of ticket has been raised for certain things. Now we would like to solve this problem. So how do we collect that data, and then how do we save it to the database? Like all data that is coming, we can save it to the database, and then immediately based on what the customer is asking, whether it is a some sort of information they're asking for some product, or whether it is a some service request, or whether it is some sort of issue which they want to highlight. So it's some sort of a customer complaint, or maybe a service that is required. Basis of that, it will go check into the database. Okay, and maybe, and in the backend we would be having an LLM, or maybe an agentic AI chatbot which can respond to the query. It can try to figure out, what is the exact problem. It will try to solve that. And if it is not able to solve, then it can raise a ticket, and it can further send it to the email. So all these things could be done through agentic AI and MCP. We also have no code platforms. So nowadays there are a lot of platform where you have to just drag and drop and build these agents. So that also is one way where you can do integration along with this. So if you want to play, there are a lot of tools available nowadays. You all can go and try that.
There's some more questions in the chat, Alok.
You provided a list of dictionaries in JSON config as those are the only dictionaries. See, it depends upon. JSON is just a way by which we are trying to communicate. Now, uh, uh, it understand the key value pair, as simple as that. Okay, so the configuration is just for maybe for one activity. Now, if you're having, let's say, more use cases you want to solve, so you can bring some more examples. You can bring some more use cases. So that JSON also will change, okay, based on your requirement. if I'm doing a weather API. So that is something different. If I'm solving some customer, request, then my configuration JSON will be changing based on that. Yeah. Okay.
I think, yeah, there are, I think Pooja's point some things. Meanwhile, at the restart point also, while you were starting the, do you understand that question from Pooja, or do you want me to unmute her?
No, I'll just say, what is it, Pooja?
First,
Please share some link. So meanwhile, okay. So once you restart, you should be able to see like how we saw that example, how it was running there. Okay. So when you go back to when you restart your Claude desktop, like this is one way you set up the server. So if you go there, you will be able to see all those MCP applications that you build up, because you can try that. You remove that, you will not be seeing all those protocols available. But once you raise them, then you should be able to see, for example, connecting with the Google Drive, connecting with my calendar. That was not available earlier. So now, because we have set up that, so we can connect with them and we can. So I can go and ask any question on my drive, like normally, okay, how many folders are there, what type of documents are there, which it should be able to answer. Now that is a basic example. When we look at business problems, that could be looking into the databases, that could be looking on the platform, looking into marketing data or the sales data that we have got, responding to that, or maybe services, the query pending from last more than 1 week or 2 weeks. So that is what we can solve that. Okay. There is one more question regarding fast MCP. So fast MCP is nothing but it's actually an open source Pythonic framework. So it's a Python framework that is used for building the servers and client, which you can do it. So it's a very standard kind of framework, okay, which is helping the LLM to connect with these applications, maybe in the backend. So it's kind of like we discussed about that USB-C drive. So these USB-C drive can connect with MCP. It's simple one. So just like how we have different libraries in Python, solving different purpose. Like that, this is just an open source Python framework. Like that, we could have many, but this is again most commonly used one. So, and you can build like simple, you can just set up any tool. Okay. So using fast API, you can just set up any tool and then you can do addition, whatever you want to do. That is up to you. Okay. You can set up.
are the steps same if I use VS Code?
Yes. We will share you some documents from our end. Maybe you will all get some details. What I showed you on desktop, if you want to try it on VS Code, yes, you can try that. And the steps, everything is same. The documentation is actually very simple for this. Okay, so you will understand. It's you have to on a very like broader sense. What you have to do, you have to set up a client, you have to set up a server, and you need some tools to interact between both of them. That's what you're doing here when you're setting these up. So if you can do that, I think you should be able to build on your own. Okay, we do have some other workshops coming up, or maybe there are some courses. If you're interested, you can look into that also. But you can try from your end. We can share some reference material. You can go through that, and you can try to build up your own MCP service. As I mentioned,
Meanwhile, people can still ask us questions. We can unmute you. I'm also going to put a poll on the screen for you guys. You can answer that for us if you can.
okay, there is a question regarding no code one. So, what are the ways? Okay, good question. So, what are the frameworks that we can do? So recently, like if you look at agentic AI, so okay, let me give you some example here. So we have a very famous framework nowadays called as uh, I don't know how many of you. Let me share my screen. How many of you have heard about that? So one of them is NA10. Okay, so this is like This is one example. There could be so many others. Definitely, we cannot, discuss, but this is very simple ones. The idea here is that if you see this entire workflow, what they are building is actually drag and drop. So if you want to build these solutions, okay, you want to build the agents, you can build your own agents, you can connect them, you can bring the MCP here. So this is what they're offering. And this is like you don't need any programming knowledge. So you just have to build this workflow. How do you build this workflow? By dragging and dropping them. In the backend, all those codes would be generated. So you don't have to worry about backend. You just have to like drag and drop and then create the flow, the workflow and complete that. So if anybody is interested, you can go through that. They have some use cases you can see here. How do you build those agents? Start building the agents. So you can just go through, have a look at these. This is all like, okay, I want to drag and drop it here. I want to put it one agent there, one agent after that. So these are like, there are a lot of interesting use cases. You can look at these ones. Okay. And in the backend, these all are integrated with some sort of large language model. Yeah, definitely. We can look at some demos in the next session. Maybe proper business use case. We can do that. Maybe next one we can plan for that, and definitely we can have a look at that. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So
No code
guys,
environment I shared, I think is almost all questions we have answered.
yes, we did, we did. You can still ask questions. We have 8 more minutes. Meanwhile, if you could please help the 10 more people that have not answered the poll, please feel free to answer the poll. That way we can improve what we are doing and also see if you're interested in upskilling. But please do answer the poll and also ask your questions if you have any. No code environments, I think we answered that question.
Jason also we answered.
Yeah, we did. I think there's no other question that is left.
Yes, yes.
You can raise your hand if you want to speak up. If you do not want to type, if it's a big question, we can always unmute you. Okay, thank you. You mentioned framework. Can you please elaborate? Mention frameworks. What frameworks are we talking about? Can you please elaborate?
Yeah, so frameworks is like, for example, here, when we talk about frameworks, those are basically the platforms that you're using. So here, one of the frameworks is N8N is one of the frameworks. It's an where you can build drag and drop, you can use that. Again, from agentic AI point of view, if you want to use that, we have LangChain, we have LangGraph, we are having Crew AI, we are having. So those could be if you want to work on agentic part. If you want to work with MCP along with agents, so you can think about Crew AI, you can think about uh, LangGraph, you can think about LangChain, you can think about AutoGen. There are so many platforms we have.
Okay. I think Karthik has a question. Let me unmute you, Karthik. Yes, you have to unmute yourself too.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So now what I understood is there's something called agentic and then there's MCP, right? The connections, the connectors. Now, once the MCP is here right now, wha- what is the advantage of agentic flows, the agentic models still, right?
Okay.
Because MCP seems to do everything, right? But I do still see things like we are talking about agentic thing in terms of make my trip, doing all those stuff. So will those continue or will MCP come into picture a lot now?
These two are totally different things. If you look at agents, agents are basically a human persona. Like for example, you and me, whatever we are doing, it could be a role-based thing that agent is doing. So we can have agent. MCP is just a connector. It's like a universal. See, the simple example is that you are traveling somewhere and you are having 10 people standing in front of you from different countries. One is French, one is German, one is Japanese, and you cannot talk to them. Now you are you need somebody, so you need like a translator who is sitting in between. The translator is like an MCP who is communicating with everyone. Every person is like an agent. Agent means they have certain tools which they are using the LLM model and trying to do certain things. So when we say agents, agent would be role based. For example, it could be a financial agent, it could be a real estate agent, it could be a lawyer agent. Now, this lawyer agent will access a lot of legal documents. How will they access the legal document? By using MCP protocol. So in fact, they are not competing each other. They are in fact they are complementing each other. Where you would be using these agents along with MCP protocols to solve many problems. Okay, to try to automate a lot of things. So that is what it's not the competition, but it's an analogy of both of them that we can think about.
Yeah,
Uh,
that makes sense. Thank you.
yeah, can we build agentic agents which uses MCP too? Yes, yes, definitely. You can build certain agents which uses certain MCP protocol. But again, those agents you need to define like what is the purpose of those agents and what kind of connections you want to build up. It could be like we saw the example. You want to connect your Google Drive, you want to connect your Gmail. So again, it depends upon. So one agent would be there, agent who links the drive, okay, who using MCP. So he's a drive connector agent. Any drive, Google Drive, Outlook, or maybe you're having Azure. So anything that you're having, you want an agent to do that for you. That is one example. Like that, we can have different agents, okay, who would be doing different things along with MCP. Can we build something based on image and video generation through agentic AI? Agentic AI is just a tool, and you can use LLM. Nowadays, we have multimodal LLMs which can generate audio, video, everything. So already there are many tools available. You want to build your own tool, you can do that. Either you can go open source or you can build something proprietary model. Like you can use proprietary models also to pay for the API cost there. So you can build up application, a lot of application. Hugging Face is one way where you can go. It's a portal, you can go and check there. A lot of open source models are available. You want to try any image generation model, any audio, video. There are some good tools like Mid Journey, Sora is there. Okay. For video, we have Runway. And then there are a lot actually, if you search on net, you will find them. So there are good models also. Nowadays, LLMs are evolved. So they have got multimodal capacities which can solve any problem.
Okay, we have 2 more minutes. We can take one question if anyone has 1 or 2 questions if it's quick. If not, we will share you the video link once we are done with the meeting and editing also. So, and see, thanks a lot, information system. Awesome, thanks for being here. Any question? Any questions, folks? If not, we can wrap up. We have 2 minutes, but we are happy to answer any questions if you have. So, look, what are we going to share them on the email? What did we promise?
We'll share them the link of, how do we, whatever demo I gave you,
Cloud.
they can try on their own. So I will share that link with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll send you the YouTube link too. So this will be uploaded on the YouTube, guys. A lot of stuff. Well, the recording and links we share to everyone. Yes. No. For everyone, that would be on the YouTube channel too. And everyone who is registered for this webinar will receive it on an email. The link will be sent on email. Okay. Donna, I think that answers your question. Could you please repeat?
What are agents example? Agent example like Pooja is you use agent along with MCP. So there would be different types of agent, the role-based, persona-based agent, which could be, solving certain problems. So some example would be like, for example, I gave you the example of lawyer agent. So if you look at lot of legal documents are there, lot of legal documents are there. So how do you access those legal documents using lawyer agents, maybe an legal document analyst agent? So we can build all these agents. We can connect them with MCP protocol And so we can connect them with MCP and we can access, so we can build something without using RAG. So you want to eliminate RAG, you can do that by using MCP directly. By using some sort of, again, embeddings and all, it can directly access the data. And maybe you want to build some sort of retrieval, you can try that and you can build that.
Awesome. So Pooja, if you have any other questions, please do redirect to the email training@agilefever.com. We'll be glad to answer your question. But we are at time, folks. We will see you again with another webinar. Thank you all for being here. Thanks all. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining. Good
Thanks a
day.
lot.
Good night. Yeah.